And we are back again, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. UTR proudly presents Talk Yo Shit. Yes, people, we are back in this thing, and tonight we gonna get serious. We gonna get deep. We gonna get to it. I'm telling you, it's probably gonna be some crazy. You're gonna hear some crazy opinions. You're gonna hear some crazy thoughts. So this is we're normally a family show. But tonight we're not gonna go that route. And let me put out this disclaimer: all opinions that you hear are our own, so do not take anything personal. But y'all come to talk your shit to hear our truths, and we expect to hear yours. So that's exactly what you're gonna hear. So with that being said, tonight's show is basically state of emergency and how we feel about what's going on in this country at this particular point in time. And like I said before, these are our opinions, and they're going to be some strong opinions. So with that being said, we are going to pass it to the professor. If you can please, let's get busy.
I got you. Yeah, welcome to State of the Union. I want everybody to make sure you get in the comments and talk your shit. First question out the bat. What are your thoughts of the current state of the United States, and do you believe it could get better? What are your thoughts on the current state of the United States, and do you think it can get better?
The current state of the United States is basically effed up right now. It's fucked up. And we all know the reason why. We're going to go into it a little deeper. But like I said, it's basically fucked up right now. People are rigging elections. People are gerrymandering states, trying to force the House to basically to rig the election again because they know they're going to lose because of the damage that you have caused within the past ever since you were elected. And to answer the question, what was the second part of the question?
Do you believe it could get better?
Yes, it can be. If we were to impeach the administration, the whole entire administration, we can't just impeach one person and keep it pushing. It has to be the whole administration, in my opinion.
When you say impeach, remember to put impeach and remove, because you can be impeached and still
correct.
So
to impeach and remove the entire administration, not just 47 himself. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it to the lovely panelists. If y'all can please intervene.
This is probably by far one of the worst. Like, it's probably been worse, but as I've been alive, this has probably been one of the worst times for our country. And it's not even just like the normality that usually happens, but just we're literally getting our rights taken away left and right. And is based upon a person that I truly believe is only in office just to save his own ass for not going to jail. He does not give a fuck about this country. And unfortunately, there were plenty of people that were behind him with the same mindsets, whether if they felt like they were deceived all of a sudden, or they agreed with every single ideology that he had. There's actual people who think that everything that's happening right now is okay and the sake of still making America great again when it is actually crumbling before our very eyes. And the only way that we'll even try to get things back together if people start to have a common understanding of exactly what's going on. There's a whole bunch of division between how people want this country ran for their own personal gain And the lack of empathy is really what's fucking motherfuckers up, because everybody is just being selfish at this point. If we all actually came together as a unit and understood that we actually do care about this country, we actually do care about the well-being of it, and for it to last for our children's children, then something could change. But as long as we still have this fucking division between people, and oh well, this ain't affecting me over here, so I'm not going to help, we're never going to get anywhere. It's just going to be a continuous chaos. That's my opinion.
Do I need to reread the question for anybody? No? Okay. Just making sure. Go ahead, Mitch.
All I can say is no lies told. It's like you got so many people that's out for self to where come together for a common goal is pretty much impossible. And you got to look at it like this. He's only been in office for only like pretty much half the year, and so much has been done to where it has thrown the country into complete and utter chaos. Like you have to look at it from an economic perspective. You have to look at it from like just living in everyday America as a perspective. Like shit is pretty much in the toilet from my perspective. But I do believe there is room for it to get better. I mean, you just got to. It's going to take a whole lot of cleaning up to do in order for it to get better, and you can't get it cleaned up in a short amount of time, but it can be done.
Talk your shit.
Go ahead, Professor. It's on you. You can have it.
We're in a state of chaos, and let's be clear, we've been in chaos for a while, even before he showed up. But it's worse. You know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I think with 45, 47 being in office, it has encouraged a lot of things to come out that you wouldn't normally see. And now it's he has made it where it's okay to be the people that you are and feel no shame about it. I feel like even if we were to get him and remove him, impeach him and remove his whole cabinet and everything, right? The amount of damage that this man has done in these 6-7 months of being in office is going to take some years to fix. But in order for that to happen, not only do you got to get him out of office, then you got to start working in all these different houses and start getting these people out, because if not, nothing is going to change. It's not just him. It's a whole trickle-down effect. So it can be done, but it's going to take time and effort. And I'm talking about cleaning house from top to bottom, not just the top. So it can get better. It's a matter of, are we going to do the work and clean house from top to bottom? Or are we only going to clean the surface? The surface is just getting him out. You got to clean that whole house in order for us to get any type of change going.
Big facts.
That's just my opinion. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all you guys' statements. We are in a state of confusion, misrepresented, chaos. What more nouns, adjectives, verbs can I throw in this in a sentence? I mean, I think I can be all night with it. Just to kind of piggyback off of the professor's back, I think it does start with a full cleanup process, and just to go into more details, it starts at our local level. It starts on It starts at voting proper mayors and proper council members into place. It starts by voting the right governors into office. It starts by changing the members of the Senate and the House, the people who approve bills that go on to get signed by the president. So, it's not just taking the president out of its position or his his cabinet out of their position, but it starts by doing things even at our local level. And I would say one thing that, since I've been an adult, I know you guys are a tad bit older than me, but not too far off. I think we're raised in the era of chaos. We're raised in the decade of things never been smooth sailing for us when it came to office. I think the earliest president I can think back and can remember of things being halfway smooth was maybe Bill Clinton. But then let's not act like Bill Clinton was a squeaky clean president either. With all the allegations he went down with.
Right.
We was in school during the time of 9/11, and when those planes hit those twin towers, and we was going to war with the Middle East. Again, I think the decade that we grown in a decade of nothing but chaos and confusion and being misrepresented and being told lies. Us going to war for unknown reasons, because allegedly someone had weapons of mass destruction, and when we get over there, we didn't find nothing. We have lost so many servicemen and women who served this country. For reasons that I don't know, besides protecting the flag, protecting this country, so I salute anyone who is currently serving this country, who has served this country, who has put their life on the line, so I can, so me and my family can walk in freedom in America. But can it get better? It remains unknown, because all we know at this point is survival tactics in America, in my opinion. That's all we've seen for the last, from my years of growing up to as a young child to me being an adult now. I feel like we've always been in some type of survival tactic, and like they'll dangle the carrot in front of the horse's mouth, but the horse never catches the carrot. So when's that going to change? And I'll put a period there, and we can move on.
I actually really do agree with that. We have talk your shit for real, because when it comes down to millennials, especially when the younger generation asks us, well, how did you guys get through it? Like Aaron said, we have literally been in a state of survival for a very, very, very long time, and it's really sad that we have got to a point where even just watching the state of the country right now and as it's going by, like, as much as we're surprised by things that's happening each and every day, it's still another thought of it's just another day we gotta get through. It's just another day that we gotta figure it out. We still gotta go to work. Okay, well, we still gotta do what we have to do, unfortunately. And it's just bad that we have been in, like you said, Aaron, in that state of mind for such a long time that it's become normalized.
And let me say this, that word freedom is used very loosely right now, because at this point, in a matter of this, your freedom could be gone, especially with the way 45, 47 is going through and changing so much stuff. So don't take what you got for granted, because a lot of people's got theirs taken away. That's all I'm saying. But with that being said, we got one comment.
Did you guys hear me? Sorry. I just realized I was on mute. My bad. Zakia's in the building. She says, hey, UTR fam. Hello.
Hey.
And Taria's in the building. She says, hey, y'all.
Welcome back. TT. Okay. Next question. If you had an opportunity to leave the U.S. and start over in a different country, would you? And where? And why?
Absolutely not. I'm not going nowhere besides here. And the reason why is that I know other governments are worse when it comes to corruption. Although we have seen other countries kind of like up their technology as far as how they defend their country, I still think that we're the most dominant country in the world. I don't think I'm not going to sit there and act like Russia is who they say they are, and I'm not going to act like China is not, or South Korea, North Korea is not who they say they are. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna say that I wouldn't want to live in any other country but this country. No matter what we're going through. Yeah, just knowing the laws and things you can do and can't do in other countries, I'm not taking that for granted here as far as what we can do here in America.
The amount of stuff that go on in different countries that can get you easily jailed is crazy. For walking down the street and chewing gum, for spitting on the sidewalk, for kissing in public, for holding hand, you can be jailed 500 lashes for the most simplest shit that we can do over here. So I totally agree. I wouldn't leave. We've been dealing with it this whole time. I'm going on 41. Why leave now?
I mean, honestly, I I can't see myself leaving a country to go elsewhere where it's more restricted and more chaotic. And I'm more on the fence of even though this country is like in complete and utter turmoil, it's there's still good within there's still good in the country that I don't take for granted at all. So why would I see myself giving that up to go elsewhere where it's more, I guess you could say it's more chaotic and a lot more strict for some asinine reason. I don't know.
What page asinine on? So
And that's right after ass and the number nine.
that's a lot of pages.
You'll find it.
Um, I think for me, it is something that I've thought about, and I have weighed all of the pros and cons. Like, even though what's happening here is crazy, everybody else in this panel, they're absolutely correct. You go to different countries, unless you have to do your due diligence and research as to what you're getting into, because there's a lot of people who go even visiting countries and they don't do the research, and now they're jailed for something that they have no idea or they didn't know of that they could be jailed for. So, and I'm not going to take away from the people who have moved abroad and actually it has been successful. But again, it depends on you and what you are, because everyone's going to have culture shock no matter what. So it just depends on you and how you feel and how you can customize yourself to that particular country. For me, it's a little different because, my family does come from Belize. So I have an option if I wanted to leave, but going there like permanently and not coming back, I still wouldn't want to have that option of, the dual citizenship and going back and forth. But as hard as things are right now with the US, it's still tamed compared to other places. It's still very tamed. And you still do have, even though it doesn't feel as free, there are still certain freedoms that you still have that you will not have in other countries at all. So again, it just depends on the person that you are, if you can deal with it. But for me, again, I still want to have that option of going back and forth, honestly.
I don't even know what to say now. Shit, y'all done took all my answers. So, but however,
Oh shit.
but however, but no, I wouldn't want to leave because there. I think this is still the richest country in the world. There's no place I would rather be from and then right here. Honestly, like if you think about it, we go hunting on a full stomach in this country. At the end of the day, Meanwhile, people have to fight and steal and do unspeakable things for food in order to survive, as opposed to what we have to do out here to survive at the end of the day. Not to mention, as everyone has eloquently put, that you don't know the laws everywhere. Like you saw, they kept Brittany Griner for smoking one of these. So in order for me to go somewhere, I would have to know the law, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to know the law like that. Like I've heard of places where women can't back talk a man if they wanted to.
Yeah, I can't go there.
Me personally, that's taking away your rights as a human being at that point. So it's like you can't even speak when even the person is wrong. So no, I wouldn't see myself leaving. I've dealt with it this long. I've found ways to survive. I found ways to, like, I've been on top and I've struggled. So I don't see myself going anywhere at the point in moment.
I'll say this: I'm not gonna leave the country to move, but I will take a long vacation if need be necessary. I'll come back.
I need that Ellen money before I do that.
When you said the richest country, was you talking financially, or was you talking different, like in a different?
I'm talking
way?
about from all aspects of the board.
I'm like, that's really not a deficit.
I'm not. I mean, when you look at it economically now, we're in even bigger deficit. But at the same time, if you go to Japan or something like that, they're basically under a dictatorship as opposed to us. We're able to move and rock freely.
We ain't far.
That's North Korea.
So
No, we're not. I'm not saying we're like that right now.
No, I'm saying we ain't far.
Again, you're not talking about financially, because a
Not
country.
completely, no.
Okay, because
He's going across the board with
in multiple spectrums.
Got
I'm
you.
talking about.
Because
Because I already know we're not the richest. Like, as
no,
far as
well,
that,
there's other places where the U.S. dollar is less than their whatever their currency is in their country. So
that's a fact. And the only reason why that is because of 47 right now.
not
No, it's
necessarily.
been like that for a while before
That's
he
cat.
was
That's
in
cat.
office.
No,
Trust
it's
me,
not.
I
The
trade
power
for it.
of the
So
U.S.
I know
dollar, it
The U.S.
dropped.
dollar has dropped a lot since he's been in office, but it's always
it's dropped. Go ahead. I'm
it,
sorry.
it's
dropped.
dropped.
Sorry.
It dropped since he's been in office, but there's always been another currency higher than the U.S. dollar, and again, we haven't been on top in quite some time now.
Okay.
It's that euro.
I'm not gonna go too
That
deep.
euro
with that,
carry.
but let's go to the comments.
Okay.
Off camera, I'll explain.
Zakia says, I would love to get my dual citizenship in Africa with the uncertainty of the U.S. in the future. I wouldn't mind having another option just in case, which I think there's still countries in Africa right now that are doing that. They're extending that. May Love, she says, hey guys. Hey, May.
Hey.
And Zakia also said, with all the BS the U.S. allows to be placed in our food, it may be a good idea health-wise to be in another country. That is facts, honestly.
But that just means grow your own fucking food. Learn how to farm yourself. Grow your own vegetables. Grow things. That way you don't necessarily have to pickle. Make your own stuff. Learn to do that.
I'm not plowing the field. I don't play that shit. But go ahead.
Can I just say one last?
Garden goes a long way. Just to be honest.
Understandable, but
The
go
last
ahead.
thing I
Eric,
want to
wanna say something?
the last thing I want to say is if my family came from another country like yours, had their beliefs, I would seriously consider not permanent citizenship or staying there permanently, but I would consider going back home. And I know friends are in I have friends who are Belizean as well, and they'll be in America for 6 months out of the year, and then live in Belize the other 6 months of the year. I just knowing, and no disrespect to Belize, I know in some other countries, I know how much more our U.S. dollar can stretch in these other countries. So in the first 6 months, sending money back home and making sure things are taken care of and making sure that I can financially be stable over the next 6 months while I'm living there. It's something that honestly, idea if I have family and I was able to do it, then I will possibly do it. Um, Z, I know you said Africa, and I'm not going to sit here and say all of Africa, but I know there's parts of Africa who don't even accept Black Americans. So, you know,
True.
be very careful on your research on certain parts. I know it's so easy to be like, you know, oh, Africa is beautiful, Africa is this, Africa is that, and there are places in Africa that's very beautiful, and that one day I wish to see with my own eyes, but it's not all the glitz and glam.
Looking
Excuse
like a
me.
trip to Africa for my 45th, y'all. Saving up.
Jesus Christ!
Y'all got 4 years. You got 4 years.
It's not all the glitz and glamour that we think it is, especially when they find out we're American, and just because
It's
we look
unfortunate. It
just
is very
because
unfortunate.
just because we all look alike doesn't mean that we're all alike. So
The
be
diaspora wars is crazy. And the thing is, it's like, it's kind of messed up because, again, you have people that are in African countries that are actually welcoming and they're like, no, come. But then you see the things, you know, the comments and things on the internet when there is a discourse, and it's like, no, actually, you're not. You're not that welcoming. You don't like Black Americans, unfortunately. To the comments. It's like you just.
I was on mute. What you wanted me to start talking? Like,
No, I thought somebody else had something to say, but I'll go to the comments. Maylove says, yeah, the U.S. isn't what it once was for a long time now. And she also says they're trying to put restrictions on people growing their own foods. They don't want us to make a way without them. Facts.
They can restrict whatever they want to. Just have my greenhouse with my greens in it. Next question. Do you believe? No, that's not it. Do you think the United States was ready for a woman president? Do you think the United States was ready for a woman president?
As always, it's dead silence when the questions get asked. As if
I'm about to
someone's
say
gonna,
I could answer,
I
but
was
I'm
about
not
to
gonna
say.
I could attack, but
I
I'm
just
just
read
not
the
gonna
question,
answer
so I-
I'm not gonna answer first every time. So it's like,
nah, I understand. Well, do we want to go first?
yeah, I mean,
I'll start it off.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Meech.
Honestly, they wasn't ready for a woman president from my perspective. I mean, you got to look at it from projection wise. It may sound good on paper, but in realistic time, they wasn't ready for a woman to take charge of a whole country. I mean, think about it. A woman being in charge of running a whole country is is in most people's views is insane. Like they would have she would have to like basically clean up a lot of stuff, and everything that was promised. They feel like a woman wouldn't be able to deliver.
Nobody attack Meech now. This before the next person jump in. Don't attack Meech.
No, I know it's not me just saying. I know
no,
that
I know it's not me, but I mean, I was just gonna answer the question. But no, a lot of people weren't ready for a woman president, and they definitely wasn't ready for a Black woman president, even though that this was one of the most intelligent, and she's also one of the most not accomplished, but
Qualified.
there you go. That's the word I was looking for.
Qualified, decorated.
She was qualified at the end of the day. So and I think it was a lot of He-Man woman haters out there that was basically on that type of time when she was running. Even though they say, like, when people say, oh, she couldn't have delivered this, she couldn't have delivered that. But name one thing that this man has delivered that he said he was at the end of the day. So, and then as it was said in the previous questions that we were going to have to do a lot of cleaning up, we were actually on the right track at one point. And I believed in my heart of hearts that we could have kept going forward as opposed to taking these 40 steps backwards if the right candidate had gotten elected, which I still think she got elected, but further on down the show. But yes, the world wasn't ready to have an accomplished Black woman to run the country, even though there are a lot of single women households out here and they are ran to a great ability. So I don't understand why it couldn't have been ran by a woman. It was like at this point, we done had a few stupid presidents that were men. So it was like, why not give the female a try? And I found, and before I hand the baton off, I find it awkward that both women lost to 47.
I was having that thought too.
I just find it real awkward that the women who ran against, there were both women that ran against 47. He just magically beat them both. But that's just my thoughts. Next person.
Go ahead, Heather. Go ahead. Nope. Go ahead. Ladies first.
I'm actually going to make mine a little short, but the ironic thing that I've always heard when it comes down to a woman being president is they love to bring that emotions part in it and say that, well, a woman wouldn't be able to handle this because her emotions will get involved and then everything will sit here and get messy. And I'm like, we are literally under a presidential person who will literally run to Twitter every single time something does not go his way, or every single time somebody says something, he is spazzing out. Like, all his decisions are literally based in emotion on how he feels. What difference does it make at this point to use that as a reason? We actually would have had a qualified person. It doesn't matter if it's, like, at this point, I don't give a fuck if it's a man or a woman. We need to put people in office that actually give a fuck about the country, period. And right now, the way that people are looking at it, oh, a woman wasn't ready. We literally have an unqualified person in the office right now. So you're basically telling me that because your disdain for women is that heavy, that y'all would rather put somebody that's hella unqualified in the office just so a woman won't have it. I feel like that's the most stupidest thing ever.
First and foremost, Heather, I'm very qualified. I don't know what you're talking about, me not being qualified. I'm very qualified. Did you see my MAGA hats? They were sewed out before Kamala even came onto the platform. And quite frankly, I'm very qualified. So I don't understand what you Democrats are. You guys are all bad people. I'm just gonna say that. And I don't understand why this person with the headphones is looking at me like that, because he's a very bad person. Oh, sorry, it's two with.
Literally, it's two people on screen.
So are you saying all black men are terrible people?
Well, I believe that we're making America great again, and if you blacks are here, it doesn't matter.
Can we go back to the question?
Yeah, bring your ass back.
I'm very qualified. That's what I'm gonna say.
I'm back.
What in the actual fuck?
Go ahead, Eric.
To get us back on track.
We had the president jump in. Wow, that's crazy. Continue.
Let me
So
find
you
out.
think the United States is ready for a woman as a president?
Okay. My answer is yes. We was ready for a woman president. I don't think the world was ready for a woman president because, based off how we just answered the last question, women are not respected in other countries. So I can't imagine Kamala Harris going to meet with Vladimir Putin, Alaska, because I don't think he respects women. I can't imagine uh, Kamala Harris flying to meet the leaders of Saudi Arabia and them giving her a jet because I know how they treat their women over in their country. So um, let me run down some numbers real quick to show you how ready America was for a woman president, let alone a black woman president. Um, 61% of Hispanic slash Latino women voted for Kamala Harris. I think they were ready. 92% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. I think they were ready. 78% of black men, were ready for Kamala Harris. Um, 50% of voters that's not either Hispanic slash Latino, black, or white voted for Kamala Harris. So if we talk about all these different groups of people, men and women, who voted for Kamala Harris, that shows me America was ready for a woman president and a black woman president at that. The people who didn't vote for Kamala Harris in majority were white men who voted 39% for her. White women, which was there, I'll give them about 50-50. They were 47% for Kamala Harris, but again, you guys failed the 50% bar, so I'm gonna just leave y'all where y'all at to drown because y'all left us where we at now. So white women, that's our 47%. I'm sorry, but you guys speak to your counterparts or your
Your
colleagues,
other
I would say.
53. Speak to your other 53.
Mhm.
Um, the very disappointing number here is Latino slash Hispanic slash Latino men, which voted 44% for Kamala Harris. I won't speak on that right now, but again, when I look at these numbers, these numbers show me that America was ready for Kamala Harris, and it's funny how the number of groups I named that was in favor was more than the numbers that wasn't in favor, and she still lost. But again, I'm not here to talk about the election. I was just answering the question. So, and the numbers show me that we was ready for a woman president, and in fact, we was ready for a black woman president. We just didn't get what we voted for, and again, I don't think the world is ready to see a woman run a country because I just know how these other countries look at women, and there's no way I can see them respecting our president. So at the end of the day, until there's things need to be changed on a worldly level, not just on the country level. And until that happens, we're gonna be where we're gonna be. But we can move on to the next person.
I'm
So,
gonna say shit
so let
with
me
the
say
with
this.
this. Go ahead.
The world has already been ready. Hence, she was a vice president first. Okay, let's be clear. She was a vice president. We were ready. The world wasn't. To have somebody who is so qualified and not pick them solely because she's a woman, it's crazy. And I understand, this world is ran by so many men. And then if you look at it, how long this world has been ran, and women has only been able to vote for the last 100 and some years. Everything is still male based, and women are still getting into it. So until it can become something where it's not about the sex of a person and solely on based on who is qualified, I don't think we're ever going to get a woman president until we can actually get the sex out and just have them as people who are qualified. That's pretty much how they look at it. A man can run this, and this. A woman is going to be emotional, and just like you said, Heather B, we got a man who's so emotional. When he can't get his way, he throws tantrums. He starts doing a whole bunch of bullshit. He got Twitter fingers, and now because you didn't do this, now I'm going to do this.
Mhm.
Men can be emotional too, and he's proven that right now as we speak. But I'm gonna leave it at that.
And then one more thing I wanted to say. I find it it's appalling and actually extremely disrespectful that not only did she not get the position, but then motherfuckers have the nerve after the fact to ask her what is she doing, how is she still contributing. You see, she's not on the front line, she's not. This woman literally did exactly what she was supposed to do throughout her campaign, throughout the time that she was vice president. She did everything that she was supposed to do. So, all of y'all motherfuckers to sit here and tell her what she should be doing when she didn't even get the, like, how would you feel if you sat here and went to an interview for a goddamn job? They tell you you didn't get it, but then they sit here and call you later and say, you know what, you didn't get the position. However, you can still do the work. Excuse me? Anybody has would be put in that position would look at that person and say fuck you. So for you guys to sit here and have that energy for her and told her in her face that she should not be in this position, but you still want her to do work, is absolutely blasphemous. That shit is ridiculous. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Go ahead and talk your shit, Jay. I know you had something to say on.
No, I wasn't gonna say too much of nothing. I was just gonna say basically from the numbers that AA read, shit, it seems as if she won. And in my personal opinion, she did win. Because we make up a lot of the majority of this country at the end of the day as minorities. And the funny thing is, even though she's won the minority vote, she still lost the election. And I don't get how that happens at the end of the day. But what people can start looking at is the Rockland County lawsuits. And with that being said, we'll get into that later, but start looking into the Rockland County lawsuit. And y'all see that Kamala actually won this election. But let's go to the comments.
Okay. As the kid said, we weren't ready for a 47 second term, but here we are. This country has been and continues to be ran mainly by male chauvinists. So no, the U.S. was not ready. And Mayla says, because that shit was rigged, we need Olivia Pope on that shit. LOL. And Zakia says, talk your shit, AA. Mayla also says there's a photo of Obama, other men and women, Hillary Clinton being one, and they focus in on how the women's reaction to seeing the body of bin Laden. And they said, see, that's why they can't run a country, saying they're too emotional. But like Heather said, these tantrums that these men have are just as emotional. Mayla, she also says, look, we've been tucked with all these men. Go on and let a woman see what she can do. Facts. She also says, honestly, if you look at some of the greatest leaders, there has been a great woman in their backbone. Let a woman give it a go.
Talk your shit.
And Mama Cookie is in the building. She says, facts. Hi, Mama Cookie.
Hey, Mama. Okay. Do you believe that some politicians are in it for the greater good or for themselves?
There are some. Go ahead, Meech.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, well, basically, you just started my thought for me.
I'm always willing to help, my brother. Always willing to help.
I mean, you do have some politicians that's out there that actually care about not only the state but the country as well. But they're often outclassed by the people that's out there that's just in it for the power and the control. So I will go and say it. Politicians that's out for like the greater good and for the betterment of the state, of not only the state and the country, they often get overlooked by the politicians that are only in it for self. And we've seen that happen numerous times over the years, that we basically hire the wrong people in office. And we often see what that comes about. like everything is pretty much in disarray, and people just seem to run with it, from my perspective.
I agree with that.
My perspective, basically, yes, I think that majority of politicians are out for self, and the anomaly is the ones that actually care about this country and the people vote and the way people feel. Like you got people like Jasmine Crockett, and you got people like Al Green, not the singer, from Texas, that actually care about our vote, that actually cares about how the way this country is ran. And now adding to the list Governor Newsom. So with that being said, it's an anomaly, and it's shocking when someone who actually wants this country to be back on top and actually wants to use that comment, make America great again, but they're doing it the right way, as opposed to I'm going to use this as a slogan and I'm going to turn it into a dictatorship. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
I'm gonna go next. I say it is very solely based on the individuals, and I'll say this, and this is the reason why. You have some who come in it for the greater good, and sometimes they get blackmailed for things, they get certain things, which forces them to go another direction, right? Then you have some that came in with ill will and say, hey, well, I can use this for my greater good rather than helping. And then you have some that's honestly in it for both. It's going to help me if I stay because I care so much. But at the same time, if I don't, they're going to put somebody in here that don't care. So let me somewhat seem some type of way, but still do whatever it is. I mean, we've had some people who are, one guy, for instance, he pretty much, his nephew, because the girl was underage and he was 18. And in that state, pretty much they called it SA, right? So he changed the law that if you're in school when that happens, then you wouldn't get in trouble because y'all both are in school. To change that law so his nephew wouldn't get in trouble. So sometimes it is for the greater good. Sometimes it just depends. And sometimes you are forced into a spot. And instead of not backing down and saying, no, I'm not going to do it and I'm going to stay on this path, they get to another path. So it really just depends on the individual. You really do have some that genuinely care. You have some that's just in it for themselves. And you have some that care, but they still want to be on top as well for themselves as well. So it really just depends on the individual person.
I agree with that. I also do believe that when it comes down to politicians, I think it's just anybody that we put in the spotlight that we oftentimes have to remember that people are human at the end of the day. So they're going to be subjected to making decisions that are probably not the best. And I think, especially when it comes down to like politicians and like churches, like for like pastors specifically, we tend to hold them to a higher accord because we feel like they're supposed to be a bit more virtuous and conservative, and you're supposed to represent a specific type of person. But at the end of the day, everybody is not like that. And sometimes with certain politicians, you may have like a politician who is actually, like you said, they're in it for the greater good, but something probably happened in their past that probably isn't really a huge or big deal. But because of the position that they're in, it comes out. And then everything that person has worked for comes crashing down. So I honestly feel like I agree. The person that I really agree with the most with is it does depend on the person who is in office, but it also just, unfortunately, when it comes down to these elections, everything is based, it's not much that's based in positivity. A lot of it is based in negativity. Let's be real. Like when it comes down to these smear campaigns, majority of the time, people are paying attention to the negative shit versus them paying attention to the positive things. So even if it's a person that's absolutely great, all it takes is one rumor to bring it all the way just again crashing down. So it just depends on, again, it does depend on the person that you are, but it's a whole bunch of mixture of different people that are in politics, unfortunately. And because of that, it discourages a lot of people from voting because they do lead with that. Well, most of these politicians are the same, they just for themselves. So they just don't do it. And that's sad because again, we need more people exercising their exercising their right to vote so we actually can make a change. But because that idea of politics is how a lot of people view it, it's unfortunate.
Okay. Um, let me start off by quoting my father, one of his favorite lines, and he told me, when I was younger, that a politician is a liar. Um, and at the end of the day, a politician will sell you anything to get him in office. At the end of the day, we have seen some good politicians. Like Heather said, all of them are human. And I understand that it's physically impossible to appease everybody. So, with that being said, there's going to be something, there's going to be things that you're not 100% satisfied with on how a politician might have reacted, might have responded. But let me go on a little bit further and just run these numbers by you. Um, and this is why I say they're in it more for themselves and more for the greater good of the country. Um, the annual salary for most members of the United States Congress is $147,000 per year. This includes senators, representatives, delegates, and resident commissioners from Puerto Rico. However, leaders in the House and the Senate earn a higher salary. Again, members of Congress, $147,000 a year. That's way more money than what I make a year, and I'm not a politician. Um, let's go with legislators. Excuse me, a little tongue tied there. California legislators make $114,000 a year. In New Hampshire's, they earn $100 more per year. Governors, Mr. Newsom, I love you deeply, but you make $218,000 a year. Um, and again, I like you, Mr. Newsom. I think you do a lot of great things for California, but you have a huge salary. So at the end of the day, you can't tell me when the rich get richer, there's no longer a middle class in the lower class. Look, we gonna just go ahead and say it ghetto. Well, I'm saying ghetto right now. The broke get broker. You can't sit here and tell me that these salaries don't mean that they're in it for themselves. And one more thing, when you go on and think of how long these people been in their positions, um, I looked up a couple people. Mitch McConnell, which is the current representative out of Kentucky, he's been in his spot now for 40 years. Now, I'm not going to always say that those numbers of their salaries have always been a year over the last 40 years, but you start doing the math about how much this guy has possibly made just being in his position. He's made a lot of money for the state of Kentucky to be where it's at today. Um, let's go further on. There's another guy here whose name doesn't need to ring a bell to me, but his name is Chuck Grassley, and he's out of Iowa. He's been in his position now for 44 years. Again, if you do the math on those salaries I just named a minute ago, and think about how much time he's been in his position, them two guys have made quite a bit, a lot of some change. And probably change that we probably never see in our lifetime unless we get extremely lucky and blessed, which I'm not saying is not possible. Um, I think at the end of the day, they are doing a job, but they are also padding their bank accounts, and their families are living great. And we've seen what governors did when natural disasters hit their states, and they took their families out the country to Mexico while their state froze over and flooded. I think at the end of the day, I think they're looking out for their own before they look out for us. Their first priority isn't others. Maybe their second and third is. But I'll go ahead and drop the mic there.
which still rings. It depends on the individual.
I wouldn't say it depends on the individual because at the end of the day, every politician is going to take care of themselves and their family before they take care of their country.
We can agree to disagree.
But
But
looking at those amount of like even you mentioned though the amount of time that some of the motherfuckers have been in position tells you a lot. And it goes back to what we said with the first conversation of, if things could change, yeah, that needs to change. They should not be in that position for that fucking long. There will not be any changes because a lot of these motherfuckers think the same way they did when certain laws and certain ways of living were in place. They gotta go. I know that was off subject from what we're talking about,
Talk
but
your shit.
did
Talk
you
your
say in
shit.
44 years and 40? Excuse me.
the country's completely different from now versus 44 years ago. Um,
That's
you
fact.
can't tell me that there's not someone of our generation that's not qualified nor has been around politics enough to kind of step in someone who been in this seat for a long time now. It really is mind blowing that Nancy Pelosi, and I know she was only the Speaker of the House for a while, but I know it's crazy how we sit here and watch these U.S. briefings sometimes, and everybody up there is our parents' age or older than our parents. Like, you mean to tell me that they don't even trust us enough to even run the country ourselves? That they're willing to pass the baton off to, the next generation? Like, y'all don't see that as like, you look at the judges, you look at some again, like it really is mind blowing. Condoleezza Rice, I love you dearly. You have done a lot for our community. We have parks and recreation centers named after you, but at the end of the day, we're not going to retire Grandma Grandma Rice. I think there's plenty of people of our age demographic that I think that can now fill these roles, and it's kind of scary that again these positions are being kept in a headlock because one, in my opinion, salaries, but two, I might have dirt on the next person.
That's basically what it is. The whole situation is rigged in order for them to stay in that position.
So with that comment being said, you can't tell me that they care about your family or my family before they care about their own families and their own bank accounts.
Well, what I'm saying is that yeah, salary may have a place in it, but what I'm saying is that's why I said earlier it's an anomaly when you find somebody that is for the country and for the greater good of the American people as opposed to themselves, because the way the country is going now, the same people you named is the ones who are putting these newer laws, like the professor said earlier about the SA and all that other stuff. So with that being said, I think that that's why people are gerrymandering states and they're making it to where that they stay in office as opposed to being voted out. I believe Mitch McConnell would have been voted out if the playing field was fair,
I,
in
I,
my opinion.
I, True, but I also think that like when you kind of sit down and think about it, where like, and again, I don't want to ruffle no one's feathers because this is not what this is. But Heather, you're off mute by the way before you get the talking crazy. FYI. Um, a lot of these campaigns are backed by what is it, what's the gun association? Um,
Um, I know what you're saying. I know what you're
but
saying.
these are the same guns that are used in other states other than California that are allowed for someone as young as 13 years old to possess, that's doing these mass killings in some of these other states other than California. Not saying it doesn't happen in California because we have seen it done here in California, but I just think that when you kind of think about the corruption and what money is put behind some of these campaigns and who are their biggest supporters, such as the gun organization.
NRA.
Thank you, the NRA. Um, it kind of shows you money talk, bullshit walks. I don't care how well Jasmine Crockett can talk right now, and I'm not taking nothing away from her because I think she's a highly intelligent woman, and I'd love to see her do things for this country one day. I just think that when it comes down to it, we've seen what happened when Obama got in office. He tried to do everything the right way to help everybody, but the people voted against him. Every time he put a bill out there for the House and the representative to vote for, it got shot down. And I kind of say I'm kind of glad not Condoleezza, Kamala Harris didn't get in office because I know they would have gave her the same type of fight they gave Obama. You know, like what's the purpose of putting someone in office who's trying to make a change if they're gonna fight you for every single tooth and nail? And you know, I just gotta say, you know, this is where, you know, like the professor said earlier, it doesn't just start with cleaning up the upper levels. We gotta clean from the top all the way down to the bottom, and that includes the local levels. That includes, you know, again, sir, you have been in office for 44 years now. What more are you offering to this country that we can't get someone else that with fresher ideas? That's, you know, that what. Let's see what they can do. If we wouldn't, again, I don't want to talk too much, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
I'll say this too: the way it is ran for these people to stay in office and to keep their seat until the day that they are gone. And that's the only time, if any, somebody new gonna come in. So it's gonna be a hell of a fight because baby, they're not going nowhere.
And
that's literally how it's designed, and it's fucked up, but that's really how it's designed.
That has to change. That has to change.
If we can only keep a president for 4 years, then something has to change with that as well. Because I don't understand how we can change a president every 4 years, and y'all get to sit in this motherfucker for 44.
But the rest of the seats they can occupy
I'm about to say,
as long as they want to. That doesn't make any sense.
but
It goes to the perspective.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I was going to say it goes down to the perspective of people not ready. People are not ready for change at all. So
Absolutely.
any and every opportunity there is for change, they get roadblocked each and every time. And it doesn't matter if it's on a local perspective or a countrywide perspective, it's going to get blocked. It's going to be at a point of we don't want change. We want things to be as the way they are, is pretty much being comfortable at the end of the day. So for change to happen, yeah, it's pretty much saying, yeah, good luck with that.
Absolutely.
Well, before we go to the comments, I'm going to say that I think a lot of people want change. It's just the simple fact they're rigging the game to not make it change. To the comments.
That's only on one level, but again,
That's just about the level, like you said. I'm not even about to get into.
A lot of us don't
talk y'all shit. It's okay because there'll be more coming. So
a lot of us don't even vote for our mayors in our own damn city. So how the hell we gonna sit here and talk about it's rigged when we allow them to put the person in place on the local level who they choose because we don't vote for that. Like I'm gonna be honest, and I'm guilty of this too. So I don't want to make it feel like I'm just centering somebody else when I'm actually putting myself in this position. I don't vote for the mayor in my city, So at the end of the day, like I'm part of the problem as well as what I'm really saying. But you can't talk about, they're gonna rig the election. Well, it's rigged because again, the mayor that you didn't vote for, they're set up for this president because you probably have a Republican mayor in office. Does the people around your mayor reports to, like the governor, they probably feel the same way as your mayor feels. So again, you didn't make the change on your local level. You didn't make the change in your own city. You can't tell me you want to make the change on a countrywide. We didn't make the own change in your own damn city. Is what I'm saying. So we gotta start at the small piece before we even jump to the bigger piece.
One, I do vote for the mayor.
Heather, let them talk.
What's your mayor's name?
I can't think of the new. I can't think.
Get the.
Oh man, come on, bro. but like I said, I do vote on a aspect on a lower aspect. I don't vote for just presidency at the end of the day
I
because of
salute you, bro.
situation, because just purely based off the comments that you did make just now. Now, granted, I can't vote in the Senate. Quote, I can't vote
No,
the Senate. I can't vote the
no.
Senate's the Senate's house or anything like that. But that's what I mean. And the crazy thing about it is what we do in our state doesn't really affect the Senate at the end of the day.
N-
It
n-
only go ahead.
on the ballot, we do vote for some of the assembly members though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
So
we
do.
vote. Yeah, and like I said, and
and
that's what and that's what we do.
those assembly members usually go on to represent California. So again, we don't vote for the whole country, but
Yeah,
again,
and
what
when they
falls
come
on
in,
our
yeah, and when they
ballots.
come in, and when they come in, talking change, and what does that do? They completely knock him out, put somebody else in the seat that will go along with their beliefs and issues, and then that's the reason why that we're sitting with no, we're sitting in the house of all Republicans at this point.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been quite a long time since I can remember, and I'm talking about the city of Los Angeles in particularly. But it's been a long time since we had like a mayor that made some real change in the city. And as I think back, I think Garcetti was okay, but again, I don't think he made the necessary changes that we needed in the city of Los Angeles. Which is fun. What funny is Viragosa, which was once our mayor, who's now running for the governor position. He was arrested for some type of a fraud or some type of abuse of a power and fund. So I think people should maybe go look that up before they consider voting for him for governor,
Um,
as Newsom terms out. But again, I just think
yeah.
that the control of power. I'll let you have it in just a second.
No, because it goes to what you were saying. So go ahead.
The control of power that we've seen in just the city of Los Angeles, we haven't seen real leadership in quite a long time. And like, it's terrible because I work for the city of Los Angeles, and I there's been times where I have to go to council meetings and I have to look at these council. I watch council members come and go and come and get arrested and get convicted on different things, and it's crazy. I think I've been with the city now for, I want to say, 7-8 years, and I have seen a number of different council presidents come and go, and not just because of it's a term type thing, but because they also committed some type of a crime to kind of get them out of office. But I just think that we're in trouble. And if we don't, like Meech said a minute ago, if we don't make the necessary changes locally, we can't expect to make the necessary changes, on a bigger level. It's physically impossible. And again, Jay, I want to salute you for you voting for your mayor, and I know I need to do better, but I think we all can do better, but we can't ask for change. And I heard people at one point saying, "Well, I'm not going to vote for a president." I think you're just as part of the problem by not voting and not using your freedom of speech, as those that are voting for the oppressor as well. And I don't mean to call him the oppressor, but that's just what I'm going to call him right now.
Call it what you got to call it.
So I just think that we need more education. We need more, you have to research your own stuff and not believe what you see on TV, because everyone has their own agenda and their own personal opinion on who they're going to push forward and drive forward with. But at the end of the day, know what things kind of not just affects you personally, but kind of understand the things that kind of affect your colleagues too. And don't be selfish when you vote, but understand what might make the place what may make the world a better place. Not just for you, but for all of us. And I'll land my plane. Y'all can have it.
So I'm gonna say this: it is very important that y'all do y'all research and please vote for the right governor, because there is one that is running right now, and bro trying to do some stuff that he done seen from other countries that we don't rock with. Like we don't roll that way. That's not how we are. And he's trying to put that in there. So please do that, because a no vote is the same as voting for a person that you don't want. I'm just going to be honest with you. And that's why we have so many people now who was like, well, can I cast my vote because I didn't vote for a president? because people don't realize your vote couldn't have made a motherfucking difference more than you realized. So get out there and vote, just like Double A said, just like Jay. Start locally and move it up. When they have these, um, what is it called? These annually or by whatever quarterly votes or whatever. Do it.
midterm elections.
Quarterly
Do it.
midterms. Yeah,
Go and vote.
just like a
Do your
report card.
research and vote. Even when I do mine, and then when I go and vote, like I go and I take notes. I write shit down. Let me see who this person is. They do this, and this. I'm gonna go through there. I'm not just gonna be like, okay, they're a Democrat. I'm picking this person. I still need to know what you do.
Talk
You
your
know.
shit.
Facts.
Let's go
But
to
that's it.
the comments.
Okay. It's not too many. If anything, they're having a conversation with each other.
Right.
Mom Cookie said, "Hello, my loves." Hello. She also said, "Hey, Zakia, how are you? Beautiful." Zakia says, "Hey, Mom Cookie, I'm doing good. How about yourself?" Yeah, they just talk to each other. But go ahead to the next question.
If things keep going in a particular direction, do you think the country will go into anarchy?
Yes.
If things keep going a particular direction, do you think the country will go into anarchy?
Yes, most definitely. It will go in. We're already in chaos, so yes, it will definitely go into anarchy in a sense, because a lot of people are tired of Medicaid, all the things that we have that made us better than these other countries are being stripped away from us because of 47 wanting to make this a dictatorship at the end of the day. So yes, and you're already messing with people who have, I mean, you already turned your back on the people who voted for you at that point, at that point. Now you're making it to where, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna get all illegal immigrants out of here. So now, not to mention, you want to take away Medicaid and Medicare, and now you want to make it to where, like Aaron said earlier, the rich get richer, and we just have to fend for ourselves at this point. So yes, it's going to get to a point where people are just going to get tired and just start making it to where we're going to be just like these other countries at the end of the day.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna read you the definition of anarchy right quick. It's a state of disorder due to the absence of non-recognition of authority or other controlling systems.
I think we have already gotten to a point of anarchy. And with that being said, a prime example is the president sending the National Guard out here just for our governor to reject them and say we're not. That's anarchy on the highest level. We see ICE demonstrations, and again, I'm all for a demonstration, especially if it's for the better will. But we have seen people ignore orders of, disperse and go home, and instead they stay and vandalize property, vandalize police cars, vandalize Waymos. I think that's another form of anarchy, or so I think we are there, and we're seeing small levels of it, but it can get worse, and if you keep on pushing people's backs against the wall, you're gonna get reactions out of people. So, and I think that deporting people without even knowing whether they're legal or illegal, whether they have citizenship or not, I think is putting people backs against the wall. So I think we have already entered. When you incited a riot at the White House because you had a fit that Biden won the election over you, that was you yourself, Mr. President 47 guy. You yourself you did anarchy on your own country because you had a sissy fit on you not winning the election over Biden, and you allow these people to riot and storm the White House just for you to turn around and become president again and drop all their charges. Like I think yeah, never mind, y'all got it.
Wait,
But
not only did he drop the charges, he also hired half of them for ICE.
I'm going on mute. You guys got it.
And let me also say this: he holds the world record for the most impeachment of any presidents.
And yet still there.
Because he's impeached, not removed. Y'all got to remember that. If there's no removal, it does not matter.
I'm going to go next. As everybody has been speaking, there's just one thought that's been coming, just kind of repeating over and over in my mind. And I feel like for full anarchy, that will be when the frustration and anger and unity is stronger than the fear. Because a lot of people are not pushing, like, let's be honest, because a lot of people are okay with whatever normality they have right now. They're just in the thought of surviving. They'll continue to push forward with whatever rhetoric is being pushed out there just to survive. But if it's more people that are pushing against that door, eventually that bitch is going to break the fuck open. And like you guys said, we've already reached points of that with certain situations that's been happening. The protests have been getting very amped up because of the ICE deportations. Him putting in the fucking National Guard in DC, and now, trying to push it for California, even pushing it out here to fucking Nevada. Like, it gets to a point where if you keep pressing, eventually something's going to break. And once it completely breaks, it's over. It's a wrap. And that's all I got to say about it.
Honestly, we're pretty much in the prelude to anarchy, because we've seen a whole lot of reactions from a lot of people, and a whole lot of people is in the uproar due
Stop,
to
Aaron.
I didn't even see his face.
Go ahead, Meech. Go ahead.
I mean, we see people in the uproar to a point where they're gonna be able to basically fight back, and it goes to like the proverbial of don't provoke the animals, don't provoke the people, because once you do, you're gonna see a side of them that you wish you hadn't. I mean, it goes down to like the deportations and people from ICE, and the people from ICE is pretty much abusing their power and authority. And the whole premise of ICE being there is to pretty much remove like the illegal criminals, so to speak. But the definition of the illegal and legal is convoluted. It's very convoluted to where you can't. It's not differentiated as to who is being deported. And
Keep
I'll
going.
just
I see you with all the big words tonight. You gotta
Yeah, I gotta figure. I know what differentiate mean, but
convoluted.
Convoluted was good.
That's good. And like I put it in my little box that I drove a '97 Honda Prelude back in the day, just so you know,
Right.
because you said we in the Prelude, and I just want you to know.
And
I want you
then
to know that
say we got Stephen A. Meech over here, so that's the reason why I was like, okay, that's what we know. But
how he going from Morpheus to Steve? Never mind.
he ain't put the glasses on yet.
The man with many hats, okay?
There we go.
I like that.
And beanies.
Did everybody answer?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
We do have one comment. It's from Zakia. She says, hell yeah. Communism, I just want to make sure I said it right. Communism would be upon us.
I almost said, Heather, you don't know how to read. Just asking.
5th grade driving to school, I had a Firebird.
What the fuck, Aaron?
Okay. What do you think would happen if all the U.S. citizens band together and attempted to overthrow the government?
Wishful thinking. This is more like the question of 100 men versus a silverback.
One gorilla.
Yeah,
One gorilla. Yeah.
not gonna happen. We don't stay together as people, as African, as black people. How are we gonna overcome anything? The most we ever come together is a Mike Tyson fight over his opponent, or whoever the black fighter is on Cinco de Mayo against the Mexican fight. Like, come, we don't stay together as people. We couldn't do it. I'm sorry. Maybe another culture, possibly. We couldn't do it, and it's sad that I have to think like this. But until y'all show me, as people, we can come together and do anything in unity, we're not gonna be able to overthrow no government.
To be honest with you, and that's not just the black culture, because as much as we are like, we don't get along, we don't do this. It's the same way how the Africans don't. You're not African American. We're African. They don't get along. It's the same way like you're Chinese when I'm, this. Like there's still a ground of something like that too going on through all the cultures, right, and all the nationalities. But if we realize that if the Asians can get along with the black people, because the reason why the Asians are able to be this, and this because of the black people and all this stuff that happened, if you go actually do your research, y'all can band together. Then also the Hispanics. And then when y'all learn to get together and band together, you can overthrow it. But you're not going to be able to do that because, like you said, nobody is willing to come together to do anything, especially when you can't even come together and be close with your own family. You damn sure can't do it with strangers. And that's
Say it louder. Say it louder for the people in the back.
Agreed.
Yeah, in
Talk your shit, but
in the nosebleeds.
that's all I'm saying. If you can't even come together with family, you damn sure can't come together with others. And sometimes, it's like water and oil with family and with people. But sometimes you got to set aside the bullshit to get the bigger picture of what you want. And unfortunately,
have a common goal.
we don't do that because everybody has a crap in the barrel mentality right now.
Mm-hmm.
And until that mentality is gone, nobody's gonna ever be able to come together and get some shit done. It's just not gonna happen.
Dang, I don't really know what to say because you guys pretty much said most of it. But based on us being able to see, like, TikTok, things of that nature, you definitely have grown to learn and understand that in every single culture and ethnicity, there are separations, unfortunately, whether if it's colorism, whether if it's any other reason, there's just something where it's not a complete united front. And that's honestly what we would need. But you're like, as Pud said, as Aaron said, we can't even get it together with each other enough to have some sort of unity and a common goal of, because at the end of the day, the common goal is for everybody to be protected as citizens in this fucking country. It's for us to be able to live, again, to have a country still good enough for our children's children. Because to be honest with you, right now, the shit is looking bleak. It's looking very, very bleak. And I'm not going to go too much into it because we have other questions that are geared towards that. But going back, again, if we don't have any sort of unity whatsoever and can't come to a common goal of this is what we want to do to change our lives in our country, then it's always going to be like this. It's always going to be like that. But a lot of that shit starts within anyway. Like people personally have their own healing that they have to go through in order for them to even be able to empathize or think of anyone else as well. It's a whole bunch of shit that needs to be done if that was ever to happen. That's my thought.
Like, honestly, in theory, it sounds good, but it goes back to what I stated earlier. Like, we're too pretty much out for self to do so. Like, we can't come together for a common goal if we're too preoccupied with being out for self. Like, and then there's people that's out that's pretty much stuck in their own beliefs. Like like no matter how many fact sheets you try to hit them with about what's going on, you're not gonna make them budge. You're not gonna make them budge. You're not gonna make them see things from a different perspective because they believe that their perspective is pretty much martial law. Like it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear to a point where nothing else matters.
At all.
And we have no comments. So if you want to go to the next question, that's cool.
And everybody answer correct? Okay. What are your thoughts about the big, beautiful bill and now how it has affected us as citizens? I think it's a big, beautiful piece of bullshit.
Fuck that bill.
The problem about this bill is the way it was sent out, the way nobody read it when they want to hurry up and vote for this shit. And they felt because they helped write it that this bill was going to be it, and they didn't think nobody was going to change shit on this motherfucker. So you agreed to it and you wanted it to be done. The big, beautiful bill, if it ain't taught nobody anything, it has taught you to read. It has taught you to motherfucking read. To know, to understand, to see what you're getting into before you fully agree to anything. This is why they tell you don't sign a contract without reading it. Look at the fine small print. Go through every page.
Comprehension.
This bill has not taught you anything. It has taught you to read everything before you sign and agree to anything. Because at that point, you are signing your life away. The way he had dismantled everything is fucked up. For the simple fact that you're talking about you're getting rid of all the illegals, immigrants. Sir, you are an illegal immigrant yourself. So was your grandfather came over here illegally, and you're here now because of that. So if we want to start doing that or taking away birth citizenship rights, you need to be the first to motherfucking go.
You and your kids.
Y'all need to be the first to go.
Your
Because
wife.
you can't, no, I said the wife earlier.
Yeah, she said the white already.
You can't stand on something and want this and then be like, well, no, that don't apply to you. No. You shouldn't have never been able to get in office. But because people don't read and they feel like this and that, and they're going to do this and don't understand, this is why we have this motherfucker in office. This is why that bill has passed. Because motherfuckers don't read and they don't take the time to comprehend and understand what the fuck is going on in the world. But I'm going to leave it at that.
But going back to what you just said in regards to people not comprehending, people not reading, it was explained clearly because it was listed under the Project 25, situation. There was a whole bunch of motherfuckers that was continuously saying this shit is a lie. That's not going to happen. All of this is propaganda. And then when the fucking bill rolled out and majority of that shit was the same shit that was listed on that list. And now people want to cry. Now people want to complain. Now people want to get upset. Well, this is not what I signed up for. The shit was in front of your fucking face for months. People sitting here doing videos, people sitting here doing articles, pushing this information out so that you are aware of what the fuck you are signing up for. And what the fuck did you do? You completely ignored it. So it's not even the fact of reading comprehension sometimes. It's just people straight up being ignorant because they don't care. And because of your ignorance, now we're in this situation where millions of people are going to lose their medical benefits. People have lost their fucking jobs. And we're not talking about 10,000. We're talking about over 100,000 people. This is what you sat here and you fucking voted for. So for anybody, I'm sorry, but I do not have any sort of energy for motherfuckers who all of a sudden now is, oh, he lied. He never did. The shit was spelled out right there. Everything was said to you, but you still made that decision to do it. So
Maybe they gave you the blueprint.
you literally, the blueprint was spilled out and you still went ahead and made this decision. So now when all this shit is happening and you're sitting here crying, I don't give a fuck about those tears at all. Because you had the option to go in the other direction so that none of this would have happened, but you still made that decision when everything was written in front of your face. And I'm sorry, I got a little peeved about that because everybody felt the same way when the bill rolled out, and it's like, are you kidding me? We've been telling y'all about this shit, but now we're in the fuck around and find out era because people just wanted to not give a fuck.
Well, all that being said, my response is going to be short and sweet. The president that pretty much rolled the bill out, and people that voted for it, y'all are fucking idiots. At the end of the day, like, even someone with 10 working brain cells will understand that fact of what is going to happen, or what is happening now once the bill rolled around. And as it was so colorfully put, it was right there in your face, and you chose to either ignore it or pretty much be in pure unadulterated denial. So for you to have that mentality, I'm like this: you could cry your tears to fucking lifetime for all I give a fuck. Because they love sappy tear stories like that. In other words, to the president and the people that voted for the bill,
There we go, Meech. Glasses ain't came out yet, but there we go.
Talk your shit.
and I'll leave it at that.
I guess you want me to go since you over there staring at me like you Martin Luther King right now. Here come an impersonation. Here come impersonation, by the way, folks. Here come impersonation.
I'm not there.
You knew it was coming.
No, that's Malcolm. That's Malcolm J.
Oh shit! Not Malcolm. You know what? Big beautiful bill for me. The way you guys just described is one way of looking at it, and that's the obvious way a lot of us is gonna look at it. For me personally, I think it's motivation. It's telling me that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. When you break down the big beautiful bill, it was, for those who don't know, who never did the research and never looked up what the big beautiful bill was, but some key aspects of the bill included extends to individual tax cuts, for rich people.
Rich motherfucker.
Okay, I'm gonna say. Hold on.
That's what it was about.
Increase the standard deductions and temporary rates and caps on states and local taxes. Again, rich people shit. Control new deductions and introduce new deductions for tips and overtime income, along with deductions
Makes
for
no
car
sense
loan
to get
for
taxed
car
on.
loans and interest. That was something to kind of like keep us poor folks down. So you'd be basically getting taxed on your tips, and even tax even higher on your overtime. That you just try to make a little few extra dollars to feed your kids, and now you're getting taxed harder for that now. Some tax breaks, such as tax breaks for clean energy in electric vehicles, which mostly rich folks drive and operate and own.
Not
Some
gonna happen now.
some spending changes happen to increase funding for defense, for border security. We're not even gonna talk about that. We've been talking about these border stuff for
Right.
a long time, but again, let's leave that where that is. Increased spending on non-negotiable renewable energy production. we still don't know what renewable energy is, and all we keep on having these natural phenomenons in the weirdest places ever. Um, Increased spending. I'm sorry. It includes provisions that may include Medicaid, Affordable Care Act coverage. We they just spoke their frustration on those provisions to Medicaid. So I think you guys understand that.
And let's be clear. Hold on, Aaron, just real quick. Medicaid is not just for people who are free. When you're over 65 years old and you have worked, that is your insurance that you have worked for.
Hmm.
They are also cutting out for people who actually earned that shit. Let's be clear, people.
When you retire from your job, that same insurance that you had while you was employed does not follow you to retirement.
No.
You're now on a Medicaid system. Um, the last spending changes was cut spending on some safety net programs like SNAP. So again, like, when you look at this bill, and again, I definitely understand your frustrations, guys, but this tells me that as people, we need to starting our own businesses so we can qualify for some of these tax cuts, so we can qualify to be in the in a big boy league. As long as we have the mentality that we're going to stay where we are, we always going to find something to be upset and mad about, and life is always going to go on, and we're going to find a way to keep on surviving and keep pushing. But I think the strive needs to be now, like, how can I now qualify to have my own LLC so I can qualify for these tax cuts? How can I now have a agriculture business, or a freight line business where I can qualify to have renewable energy for my business? So I think that if we want to play, if we want to qualify for these tax cuts where these bills don't affect us, we have to now be smarter and wiser and try to put ourselves in position. Let's have our own LLCs. Let's have our own companies where we can qualify for these tax cuts. We're not doing nothing but staying in the same positions that that our parents did. We work these jobs until it's time to retire, and we retire. We no longer live the same way like our parents did. Our parents has bought houses and cars for not even a third of the cost of what we see on the market today. We need to step our game. It's fine to be mad. It's fine to be upset with the people who voted for this bill, but it's time to, like, further ourselves as people as well. And this means if we have to start making businesses and starting LLCs, and putting our businesses on the map and supporting our own businesses. Meech, I'm glad you should, instead of wearing that shirt tonight, you should have wore a change.org shirt tonight, because it's time for change, and change start with us. You gotta look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I gonna sit here and keep on complaining about the bills that I had no control over? Because literally we didn't have no control over it. The bill got approved whether you liked it or not. You could say, yeah, they voted for it, but at the end of the day, look who we voted for as president, and look who's now running the country. So at the end of the day, we can no longer allow the things that's out of our control affect on how we live day to day.
But
We
I say
gotta
this.
we gotta now push to make ourselves better as people, and support and we gotta support each other. Without that, we're not gonna make it, y'all.
Just know that you can go out here and create these LLCs and get a business, but you got to make sure your business hit a certain capital of money in order to qualify for those
Most de-
benefits.
most definitely,
No,
most
I'm
definitely,
not
but
saying to you. I'm
but
just letting people know.
yeah,
Y'all got to
but
make sure that y'all.
tell me who's starting a business and don't want the business to succeed to get to those upper tax cuts to begin with anyway. So
No. I'm not saying that they're not. But what I'm
it,
saying is
it's
you got to make sure that you
it,
plan it out carefully.
yeah, absolutely. But I just thinking
Because
that
you have some people. You have some people that say, "Well, I got an LLC and I got a business," and you're not
no,
making the capital that you need to get there. So that's the only
no,
reason why I'm saying that. Because I got an LLC, baby. It's not hard to get one. I'm just gonna let you know that
no.
it's not
You
that
you
hard.
could you can apply through your office of finance in your city to get an
Right?
LLC, or you can go on to the Secretary of State website and apply for an LLC. It's not very hard.
It's not hard, but that's what I'm saying. I got to make
It is
sure.
very cost efficient to even apply for an LLC. But with all that being said, I just think that it's easy to be mad about bills. It's easy to be mad about the outcome of elections. It's easy to show frustration and give two, no offense, Mitch, but to give two middle fingers to the people who put these things in place. But how long we gonna be mad at me, and how long we gonna stay in this current state of being mad and frustrated before we make changes as individuals as well? Are we gonna conform to what the time is and adapt, or are we gonna just drown out and die off because they're doing things to pat in their own pockets, while meanwhile we're not doing shit?
You're
I
absolutely
think
right. The
the
individuals gotta also learn to get together and become not an individual and become a one, so that we
Listen,
can. That's what I'm saying.
and we all can support Amazon, which is ran by we know who. There's no reason why we all can get together and have our own Amazon. You know what I'm
Easier
saying?
said than done.
Very,
Again,
very, very true. But
because a lot of people live in a crab in a barrel mentality, and it's I gotta eat first, rather than no, we all need to eat together to get where we need to be.
but that's where the thinking got to change first before we even take that first step. The thinking got to change first. Like we support everybody else before we support ourselves. We go to the African markets where the Africans might meet us, like treat us like crap, just to buy black sea soap, or we might go to the Chinese markets to buy whatever we're buying from there. We when the last time we've been somewhere and supported a black business? And I know you guys have, because I know we had these conversations offline. But again, if we was to have these conversations on a major scale, that's the changes that needs to. We gotta stop. We gotta stop thinking the way we think, and we gotta like show up in numbers. It's not about, oh, it's Black Friday and today no one's gonna go pump gas at Chevron. Is that's over with. That's done. At the end of the day, we all gonna eventually have to go back to a gas station and pump gas again. Hurt them in the pocket one day is not putting the gas station out of business. But I guarantee you, if we open up our own business and we had everybody go shop at our own business, and yeah, they probably would sabotage it and burn it down and do the work, the absolutely worst to it. But at the end of the day, I just think that if we got back to Black Wall Street type of thinking before that got shut down, I think we'd be in a better position as well.
I wanted to say something in regard to that because everything you said is absolutely correct. Nobody wants to stay in a position of mediocrity, and you want to be successful. You want to get out of that so that you could be able to have access to specific amenities. The issue with that bill, and I think the reason that it frustrates people, is because for the ones who are trying and putting forth the effort, but still getting slammed with other life shit, this has now made it even wider. Like it's made it even, I guess it's made it even harder because now it's primarily, once again, focusing on the people who are already in that bracket. And then the ones who are trying to get there, now it's going to make it even harder for them to get there. Like, because I get where you're coming from as far as people just kind of staying in a position of complaining and then doing nothing.
Yeah.
That I completely understand. But I also just want to put it in a perspective of the ones who are trying, because we hear it all the time with small businesses, how they're suffering. And it's not because they don't have the clientele coming in, it's because everything in the background that they have to deal with, all the additional taxes, and then if you are a minority, it's even harder. If you're retail and you have to be able to connect with certain merchants, they're only dealing with a specific type of people. It's a lot that comes with that. So I think with the big bill, it mainly frustrates the ones that are like, dude, I am trying my hardest, bro. Like, I want to be there. I want to have that successful ass business. I want to be in that tax bracket where I ain't got to worry about shit. But I still got to deal with the real life shit, and now this is happening as well on top of it.
Did you think that they're gonna give us a free handout? Did you think it wasn't gonna be difficult? Like you got people out here that's still waiting for their what is it, 3 acres and a mule? Like I think
40.
I'm sorry, 40 acres and a mule. Whew, I'm glad I'm not waiting for 3. But I'm never undermining how hard it is to be a business owner, and never undermining how difficult it is to become in that upper echelon to businesses. I understand what a lot of people face today. In my own personal career, what I do for work, I license legal businesses. So I see the day-to-day struggles of a business operator not able to sustain a certain amount of success for whatever challenges they face. So again, I fully understand what you're saying, but you know, the, I don't want us to be complacent on the way we think about things. I don't want us to think that by showing up and working a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, whatever hours you work, a graveyard shift for somebody else's company is going to push us further as people. And I know that also these jobs also is the startup money that we need to kind of push us further in the right direction. I just think that until we change the way we think, we can sit here and protest, we can sit here and complain, we can sit here and debate, we can sit here and talk till we blue in the face. What's changing?
Again.
What you know what we gotta do something different, and this is why, you know, at one point having sit-ins and doing protesting and walking from, you know, Montgomery to you know, I love what our civil rights leaders did for us back in those days, but I don't think that type of protesting and that type of I don't think that type of protesting works in today's time. I think that us younger generation folks are intelligent enough to kind of make differences in different ways. And again, like the professor said, until we get rid of this mindset of crab in a bucket, we saw what crab in a bucket did for our parents. Absolutely nothing when things went wrong. Why are we walking in the same shoes, or why are we following the same blueprint of our parents when we saw what happened with crabs in the bucket for them? And the economy is 10 times worse than what the economy was back then for them. You know, I remember my pop said he bought his first house for less than $100,000. You show me in Los Angeles where you can find a house less than $100,000. Buying vehicles back when our parents bought vehicles, nowhere near what the vehicles are today. You know, we love our parents. We love that generation. They did great things. They set the blueprint for us. But now it's time to revamp that blueprint to where it fits us. And that blueprint doesn't fit us. Not saying it's wrong. Not saying it's right. I just think that as you know, one of my favorite movie, Any Given Sunday. At the end of his speech in the big game is either we come together now or we die as individuals, and that's what will happen to us as Americans. Either we come together now as people or we will die as individuals. And we look at that from a business aspect, you know, or you look at that as however you want to place it in your life today. You know, it's all about coming together, you know. And I don't want to be religious, but I'll say, you know, I love y'all, and y'all every time y'all got something going on, whether it's a business venture, something personal, I'm here to support y'all. You know, through thick and thin. You know, we are family. We all have looked out for each other financially at times before. We have looked out for each other emotionally before. You guys have been backbones, whether it's motivational speaking. I knew if I started a business today and I wanted you guys to support me, I know you guys will support me. I just think that we need to now do that on a bigger level as well. You know, if we have the right people in place who's not trying to get over on us, I think that we need to start supporting those people. And that includes people like Jasmine Crockett. You know, right now she's saying all the right things. I think she can make I think she's can get into I think it should go very far for this country. But that will only go on the backs of people who push her. And the moment that we no longer supporting her, that is a moment that she will fall and we will fall. And now I feel like I'm talking too much, but y'all got it.
Are you good?
Go ahead, Jay.
You on the podium tonight, bruh.
Yep.
Get me off the podium. Get Jay up there.
I don't need to be up on the podium. I'm just gonna say few key points. The funny thing about the big shitty bill was this: it didn't even pass the first time. It didn't pass. Not to mention that the Senate illegally went overnight, didn't pass, then took recesses, came back for a second time. The same votes that we had wasn't there no more. So basically, what it's showing to me that you either roll along or you get rolled over at the end of the day if you mess with 47. And the funny thing is about that is, like we've said all through this show, this man throws temper tantrums when he doesn't get his way. He tries to bully when he doesn't get his way. And then the funny thing is, when you attack back, he becomes Taco Trump and back down, or Chicken Trump and backs down. So the funny thing is, we're sitting up here discussing the big beautiful bill, or the big shitty bill, as I should say, and it shouldn't even have been in effect, because technically we won that. But how are we gonna be able to continue and get all these beautiful things that you guys have eloquently put as far as businesses and all this other stuff when everybody is afraid to speak their minds?
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Hello. But a lot of people, even on his side of the playing field, was against this bill. They, not to mention, like the professor said, a lot of people didn't read it. Then they went back and did it and said, oh, I don't like none of that, so I'm voting against it. Then when they realized that they lost, then it's, no, we didn't lose. We got to do that over.
Not only that, they had them rewrite stuff too. There were certain things they had them rewrite.
Exactly.
It was actually strategy that the bill failed first,
and not to
so
mention,
they can make the revisions,
and not to mention,
and throw people off.
And not to mention, if you wrote a piece of that bill, you automatically thought that your piece was going to get voted in. But now that the bill has passed, they basically whited out your part.
Mm-hmm.
They was like, nah, we're not doing that for the state of Maine. Nah, we're not doing that for the state of Iowa. We're not doing that for the state of Oklahoma.
Also, remember, they did the revision, sent it back and said, okay, we'll take this one. And then when it was time to do the bill, they put the bill back the way it was originally.
Exactly. So with that being said, it's not the fact that, it was crabs in a bucket. It was the fact that people were actually on the same page, and people actually thought that their piece was going to get voted in, as well as the bullshit. It's kind of like, you give a little to get a little or whatever. But at the end of the day, the people who they got fucked at the end of the day. And that's the reason why that bill passed.
No Vaseline.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
But everything y'all said is absolutely correct. I just wanted to point out the fact that that bill really didn't pass. Same thing as his presidency. But we're going to go.
More on that later.
To the comments.
Mama Cookie said, I have no fucking compassion for no one who voted for that asshole, period.
Mama Cookie cussing on there, she mad.
Mm-hmm. And she also said, real facts, AA. She also says, we have to have a different mindset. And Z says, spit that knowledge, Jay.
Okay, yeah, we got one more question. We got time for one more question. And that is, do you believe that immigration is an actual problem or is it a distraction from the real issues? It's both.
50-50.
It's both.
It's both. Because the thing is this, when but the funny thing about it is how people are looking. I think personally, a lot of cultures are, especially in a lot of cultures are looking at immigration as an excuse because they say, oh, the immigrants are taking these jobs from us and this and this. I ain't seeing y'all getting up at 5 a.m. to go stand in Home Depot to fix somebody's kitchen for whatever. I don't see certain people getting up to go cut grass to make a living. I don't see people getting up to go do certain jobs that quote unquote the immigrants are taking from us.
And I hate that because that's such a stereotype, because some of them aren't even immigrants. They just don't have a job.
And some of them, they and some of them don't have the proper licensing to do what their skill is. They probably their skill is probably in their country.
Mm-hmm.
But when you got over here, it's a lot of red tape that you have to get through in order to be a license, whatever it is that you're looking
for. You can still be legal, but because you don't have the license, fucks you up.
Right.
So that stereotype of they're coming over here and taking our jobs, did you get up and go try to get that job? Did you ever think that they were actually qualified for that job?
And did you actually think that at once upon a time they may actually be better than you at that job?
Now, I will say this too, when it comes to that, people who live here in this country fight so hard to get certain benefits and they keep getting denied. And you do have some that come over here and can get them benefits quick because of certain laws that were put in place for them. Another thing too, people don't understand when it comes to immigrants, some of these immigrants came here because they had to flee their country because of certain things. So for people to say, oh, immigrant is illegal, they're not illegal because we had in the Constitution a law that allowed them to be here.
And California, in particular, is a sanctuary state. So we allow
Pretty
people
much.
from other countries to leave their country if their country is in some type of despair to come here for a better life for them and their families.
Exactly.
And we bust people in from other countries.
And if we just really want to keep it a buck, baby, everybody is an immigrant then, because you're not from here. Think about it.
Big facts.
Europeans are from what? Europe. Asians. Hold on, hear me out.
No, I wasn't about to say.
This country was built on the backs of everybody's culture. This country is a big melting pot. Big melting pot. And it's when you start taking away people and you start realizing a lot of shit that was important because they were here. So when you want to remove and call it people, and I hate it too, because just because you're Hispanic or just because you're black or this and that, that's why you're illegal. Bitch, I was born here. I'm not illegal.
Mm-hmm. I also feel like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I also, just going back to what you said about the thought of immigrants coming over and taking jobs like from actual citizens. If I'm not mistaken, at some point, Trump stopped ICE from going into specific areas because these specific areas were losing all of their employees. Guess what they were? They were farms. My question is, any single time someone says, oh, they're taking jobs, are you applying for that specific position? Are you? No, you're not. So how does that affect you over here if this is not even a position that you would do? how the fuck does that affect you? And it kind of goes hand in hand with, okay, I think a lot of it also has to do with the amount of people that's here as well. That's why they're trying to stop it. Okay, so that goes back to the Roe. I'm sorry, I think it's Roe versus Wade, as far as people having the options of either not having a child or having a child.
Heather, that's another question.
I know that's a whole no, I know. I just wanted to bring it up as a thing of, you can't sit here and have an issue and say that that's one of the reasons and then do this over here. Like, it's just a lot of misconceptions when it comes down to why immigration is such a bad situation. And now it's got to a point where it's become a diversion for just motherfuckers to get rounded the fuck up. That is where the issue is, because going back, like, what I get frustrated with is when they bring up other presidencies and they say, oh, well, they deported this amount of people under this particular presidency. Look at how it was being done. That has nothing to do with what the fuck is going on right now.
They were just running up, snatching everybody that they saw.
Are getting snatched up.
Personally, if you're Latino, you're basically free game at this point.
Anybody who is not what you would consider as a citizen is getting snatched up. This is not.
You can't even say Latino no more, because they're snatching up everybody.
They're snatching up everyone.
If you look like you Haitian and you could be American, they are snatching you up. If you look like you don't belong to this country, i.e., they are snatching you up. If your last name sound foreign, they are snatching you up. So it's not even just at first it was almost just the Latino thing. Mm-hmm. And then that went out the door. We're taking everybody, Latinos, Indians, Asians, Haitians, everybody, Jamaicans, everybody.
And that's what frustrates me when people sit here and say, oh, it was only one specific demographic that was being targeted. And
it was at first.
What do you think is going to happen when they move away from that? Now they're going to move to everyone else. And we said that. Like, the reason that it's an issue right now is because the way that they're going about it. Like, you can't use that excuse of, oh, well, if they come in illegally, then it shouldn't be a problem, because that's null and void at this point. They don't give a fuck. That is the difference between the other presidencies and what this fool is doing right now. He just don't care. He is just getting everybody.
The difference between other presidencies was that the fact, especially with Obama's presidency, yes, he deported illegals, but they were in trouble. And not to mention that if they weren't in trouble and they were deported, you actually had a fair option to come back and to get your presidency, to get your citizenship the correct way. With this particular presidency, you got to pay $5 million in order to be a fucking to be a citizen out here. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't have $5 million to give him. And my question is this: now that quote unquote these deportations and all this is done happened and these jobs are now open, are y'all still applying for them?
See, the fact of the matter is they're not deporting people. You know what they're going to do? Them same farms that they took them people off of, they're about to enslave them there. Mm-hmm. They're going to make them work and tell them this is how you'll be able to live and not be deported somewhere. The sad part about it is that they are doing the same thing like before when they were taking these kids away from their parents, putting them in a system. You got little kids that got their fingerprints in the system as a goddamn criminal. All because, as you call, quote unquote, they are illegal aliens. Makes no fucking sense. You are having hearings for all these kids who are 3 and 4 years old who do not comprehend nothing you are saying to them. There's nobody there to help them so that you can go and take them and do all this type of shit. The fact of the matter is, he's a man who has power and does not give a fuck about authority or law. He think word is law when it comes to him. That's it. That's all. And if you're not with him, you are against him.
That's exactly how he uses his presidency. It is his word. That's exactly how he runs it.
And that's why I'm with everybody who's against him. Because and not to mention these judges are actually blocking a lot of the stupid shit that he is doing at this point.
I
Now,
did
now,
not say
granted,
a lot.
now what? Now, I'm not saying a lot, but what I'm saying is whatever's in their grasp, they can do. A lot of people, certain judges have done it. So, with that being said, that's why I'm like, it's both. But even with these, even with these jobs, people still not applying for them. They don't give a shit. They just looking for an excuse, and not to mention looking for a handout.
You want to go, Meech? You want to jump in, or you want me to go?
the, the only the only the only point I would want to make on that is with everything that's said in a nutshell, like you're 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 basically you're basically denying the opportunity for better living, for better for better opportunity as far as employment is concerned for said immigrants to say even to escape from the poor conditions in said country, and then they have dreams and aspirations to come over here to make things better, make for better either working wise or just simply living due to everything that America stands for. So for to deny them of that is basically saying it's basically to them saying you have no rights at the end of the day. You have no rights, you have no claim to come and better yourself. And I'll just pass it to you, A.
Okay. Um, I personally can't say both is the problem. Um, our immigration laws is a problem. Um, why is the laws different among the different states? So depending on what state you in, the immigration laws are different. Why is it's almost it will be comparable to why is the age of consent in California from different from the age of consent in Florida? Until we get across the board immigration laws, I think it's very unfair for me to say what's the problem. Now, I will say that if you come from another country and you're here committing crimes, you're killing, you're stealing, you're a problem without a doubt. The sleeper cells that they claim that we have here, you're a problem. If you want to commit harm on U.S. soil, you are a problem. However, like we just said a moment ago, we are a sanctuary. We are a sanctuary city. We're allowing people to escape their country, the terrorism in their country, to come here for a better life, as Mitch just said. How are we now turning around and saying they must go? If we're allowing, if you go to a university, go to any college. You can go to a community college. You'd be surprised on how many people or how many kids are sent here to America to get free education from other countries, but we turn around and say they gotta go. On the flip side,
Facts.
on the flip side, I would love to see any one of you guys, and I'm talking to us on the panel. I would love to see any one of you guys try to go to a different country without proper documentation, thinking that you're going to seek asylum in their country. They don't play that in China. I think years ago we saw what happened to Chris Brown when he landed in China and he had a expired visa at the time. They held him for a few days and they shipped his ass right back to America. And I think they even gave him like a no fly zone for a minute. So I think that you know before we sit here and try to debate on what's right, what's wrong, there's only one thing I can stand on, and that's um, if you're here, if you're here, you don't have documentation, and you're committing crimes, you must go. There's no room for you here. As Jay said, or as many of you guys said earlier, they are doing the jobs that necessarily I don't want to do. necessarily we don't want to do as people. I'm sorry. We all love fruit. We all love things that are grown in an agriculture field. But I'm not a fruit picker.
I'm not a farmer either.
I'm not a farmer. Um, I think there are ways. There was once ways that people can come here and apply for citizenship and be a U.S. citizen. I think since he's been in office, those options are just about out of the door. But I feel like before we can tackle the bigger issue, before I think you should be able to round up people, whether you know why they're here or not here, whether they're here without documentation, or, or they're born here. I think we should first fix the laws in place. Again, I think it's very unconstitutional that California has one set of laws versus someone like a Texas have a different set of laws. And we're gonna sit here and try to say that immigration on a federal level is the same. It's clearly not, because at the end of the day, if our governor is saying it's okay for this to happen here, there's no way that a president should be able to come in and supersede. It should be one playing field. It should be one set of laws across the board. So I think let's start by fixing what's written. Let's get one thing across the board as far as what the laws say, and then we can start on working on what the bigger problem is there. Again, we can't allow these other countries to come send their kids here on scholarships for schooling, and then after that kick them out. We can't allow places like California say we're sanctuary, allow them to escape terrorism in their own country, then we're going to kick them out. We allow these people to be here. These people, and you'd be surprised that they're not just doing the jobs that we don't want to do. They're actually excelling in jobs that we don't have either. I mean, my doctor himself, my primary physician, is someone that wasn't born in this country, and his family doesn't come from this country, and he does a great job at what he does. So we can't just sit here and say that they're bad people, or I think they're people. Some of them are good people, and I don't think everyone deserves. I don't think everyone deserves to be judged by the same sword just because there's one bad apple. So yeah, we have seen some bad examples, but again, let's start by fixing laws first, and then we can look at the bigger picture from there.
Right.
Agreed.
Well said.
We only have one comment.
Okay.
It was just Zakia. She said both for her answer.
We're going.
With that being said, we have come to the end of the state of emergency with UTR.
State of Union.
State of the Union, state of emergency, same shit. With that being said, we're going to pass it to Heather B.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much for everyone that did tune in. This was definitely a much heavier topic than we actually haven't had like a heavy topic like this since our Are You Healed show. So I think it was definitely time for us to have this conversation, especially us being a little bit past the midpoint of the year. It was definitely time for us to talk about what's really going on in our country, because at the end of the day, we all live here. So anything that happens is going to affect us directly. So I do truly appreciate everyone who did come out, make their comments, engage in the conversation, especially these 4 individuals that are on the screen right now. I truly do appreciate you guys for definitely allowing us to bring this show to fruition. So I truly appreciate you all. Definitely make sure that you guys follow all of our social medias. TikTok, Yahoo, girl, old as hell, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure that you do follow all of those social medias.
We do have a TikTok, don't we?
I said TikTok. Well, if I didn't, TikTok again.
We have a Yahoo?
I said I didn't mean to say it, damn it. Anyways. Make sure that you follow us on all social medias for any additional clips and upcoming shows that will be in the future. But as far as I don't really have any really last words. We said a lot on this show today. The only thing I can say is to protect yourselves in every which way you can think of. I'm not gonna elaborate on that. Just make sure that you protect yourselves while we are dealing in this time right now in this country. Make sure that you are getting all of the information needed. If there's any changes within your state, or if there's any changes within just the country, period, make sure that you are keeping an eye out of that because, again, every single day it's something different. So just make sure that you do a good, keep yourself informed, please, and protect yourself, protect your family. That's all I'm going to say.
Meech.
Well, I will say for everyone that came in and participated in this heavy duty segment, we really do appreciate that, and we appreciate your different opinions at the end of the day, and we love the energy that you give, especially when it comes to matters such as this, and don't worry, we will be visiting this again later on down the line. So there will be a second part to State of the Union. So be on the lookout for that. And as far as final remarks is concerned, I will say don't let anyone dictate what your rights are at the end of the day, because you as an individual, you do have rights, and you are entitled to said rights at the end of the day. And also just be aware, be aware of things that are going on as far as the government is concerned, because you never know if it could affect you or any of your loved ones at the end of the day. So just be aware, and and keep keep an open eye out for anything that you may feel that it is, what's the word I'm looking for? Detrimental to detrimental to not only you as an individual, but for this country as a whole. And I'll leave it at that.
Talk your shit.
Double A.
Um, I hope this show kind of just brought awareness. I hope this show wasn't to sway people to vote for a particular party. This show wasn't meant to this show was just clearly opinions from five different people in five different places that how we feel the state of emergency, as Jared like to say, or union, as everybody else like to say, is being ran. But I don't want no one to walk away from the show and feel like they're they were targeted, because this wasn't to target no group of audience whatsoever. But I think the truth is the truth, and I think it's time for us to look ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves, are we doing everything that we can to make sure this place is here for our kids. You know, when it's all said and done, and you leave this earth, what legacy do you want to leave behind? And I can't say that I want to leave behind a legacy of what 45, 47 built, because that doesn't properly represent who I am or who my colleagues are. I think that it's fine to be mad about bills being passed. It's fine to be mad about elections being rigged. It's fine to be frustrated on where we sit as Americans, but I think that now there's action required behind the madness, the outrage. I think it's time for us to make changes, and if we don't make changes, we can't complain about what the outcome is. So I think that it's now it's time to do better. If we want this place to be better, we have to do better. We can't expect no one to do better for us because you see what they're doing now. And with that being said, I do thank the four of you guys for expressing your opinions. It was much respected. I love everyone who commented in the comments. I love everyone who just watched and didn't choose to participate. So we love you too. But at the end of the day, you have every right to feel how you want to feel. Even if you stand on the other side of how we feel, you can stand there. That's not a problem. But I think that if we want change, you want to make the change. Is yourself. What's the famous word? What's the famous saying they used to say back in the day? You got to sweep around your own front door first before you can sweep around somebody else's. I think it's time for us to get the brooms out, y'all. With that being said, thank you. Good night.
Mike, drop.
Yes, sir. As Heather B pointed out, can you please follow us on all of our social media, our Yahoos, our AOLs, and our AOLs? We also have dial up. We also
You got mail.
We also have dial up.
Black people meet.
No, Dial-Up is actually gone now. We no longer have that.
Not yet. They got a few weeks. They got a few weeks to go.
September.
Thank you.
Okay,
So
September.
for the few weeks that AOL is still around, you can find us on there as well. But I also want to give a shout out to everyone that was in the comments, everybody who watched, didn't speak, and I want to give a special shout out to the four individuals on this panel. It took a great deal of courage to come on here and to be on a public platform and to express an opinion that, everybody is thinking, but you guys had the golden ads to say it at the end of the day. And as far as my final remarks, do your research, do your homework, make sure you read the fine print, and don't take what people say for face value. Even though just because it is it's a part of the party that you rock with, doesn't mean that their intentions are yours at the end of the day. Then, with that being said, you can also go to congress.gov and put your signatures on the new impeachment for 47. And we can push towards making America great again. But we're going to do it our way as opposed to his way. And I'm going to swing it to the professor.
You can't want change without being the change. Reading is fundamental. Comprehension is key. Go out and vote. Live life, love, and laugh.
And with that being said,
We have two
we're
more.
out of here. Oh,
Wait.
go to the comments.
They're both from Mama Cookie. The first one is, I love you all. I pray everyone have a wonderful night and a great, blessed week ahead. You too as well.
You do the same.
And then she also says, which is the best comment to leave this off on, the same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's about what you're made of, not the circumstances. And sorry, one more. Zakia says, thank you for this show. You guys all came with great knowledge on the subject. Keep up the good work, UTR. Thank you so much, Z.
And with that being said, we are out of here. So take care of yourselves and each other. We love you all.
Bye,
All
guys.
right. Especially each other.